Hello, everyone. Welcome back to College Football Corner, powered by the New York Sports Machine. I am your host with the most, Jersey Joe Archino, here highlighting the top games of the first weekend of the college football season, and it is really a great slate to kick off the season. Sometimes you don't always get, great matchups during the day leading to the night games, but I mean, really, it's all day. Even today on Friday, there's some interesting ones, but I mean, that Saturday from 12, 3:30, and then those night slates, it is just going to be a fantastic day. Obviously, for me, though, 3:30, I mean, the top one that I have to be glued to, Louisville and Auburn. I mean, the big thing is, if you listen to a lot of my content, I think that Auburn is going to be in the playoff this year. I really think when you look at them at quarterback, what they're going to have with Jeremy Johnson, that's the name you're really going to watch out for. Jeremy Johnson is really, I think, a good comparison to him is Cardale Jones with Ohio State. He is a big, strong, physical quarterback. He can get the ball down the field, and most importantly, he can make plays with his feet, and he can deliver the ball accurately. And I think when you look at Gus Malzahn, he didn't really have a dependable quarterback in the passing game. I like Nick Marshall, what Gus Malzahn had under him, but I just don't think you could ever consider him a reliable, consistent passer. You have that with Jeremy Johnson now. That's going to allow Gus Malzahn to really be more sharp, call more plays, do more interesting things with his offense. It's going to open up so much more possibilities for him. Auburn, for sure, I really am excited to see how he looks in his first game. And remember, in Auburn's first game last year, Nick Marshall was suspended for that first half. Jeremy Johnson played, and he played very well. So I think you got a glimpse of what Jeremy Johnson could do there. Jeremy Johnson is the man for Auburn, the Auburn Tigers now. It's going to be a big season, and you get the first glimpse of him. Very excited to see. Going on a little bit, though, another one I want to highlight is Oregon and Eastern Washington. Now, Oregon should win this game just by walking into the building. It's going to be a blowout. But the interesting thing here is Oregon's quarterback, Vernon Adams. Vernon Adams was the starter at Eastern Washington and transferred to Oregon. I think a lot of people in the offseason thought Jeff Lokey, who was the backup to Marcus Mariota, basically had a very good shot at winning this job. He was gaining a lot of chemistry with the teammates, and he was playing very well. He knew that system from being in it, but Vernon Adams is on the scene for about 2 weeks, and he wins the starter job for Oregon. Now, is it surprising? No, because Vernon Adams is a terrific athlete. He had a phenomenal career with Eastern Washington, and he's the kind of guy who can fit that Oregon system well. But it's all storylines. This is the guy who transferred from Eastern Washington. Now he's playing against the school that he transferred from. Now, again, I think Oregon wins this game, just blows the doors off like they often do. But again, it's just going to be interesting to see because there's got to be a little bit of emotion tied into it for Adams. A little on at the other opponent's side, obviously, there's going to be a little bit of controversy there. But it'll be a lot of fun to watch. And the biggest thing for Oregon this year is with Marcus Mariota. I mean, you always went into games not expecting him to turn the ball over. I mean, he had 4 turnovers last year for Oregon, 2 in the regular season, 2 in the playoff. Are you going to get that with Vernon Adams? I think you might see more turnovers. You probably, because Marcus Mariota obviously is one of the best college football players we've seen in a long time. But again, Vernon Adams, well, he got this job in 2 weeks. He hasn't been in that Oregon system too long, so he's going to make mistakes, and I think that's something you have to live with. Would Lokey not throw as many? It's a possibility. He knows that system better. He's been running it more, but obviously Mark Helfrich and the staff chose Vernon Adams, and obviously they've had a lot of success, so you've got to give them think that they know what they did there. But I really want to see how Vernon Adams looks in that first game, because it's going to be a new look. We've seen Marcus Mariota. Now we see Vernon Adams. Will it be plug and play, or will it be a little bit different? Going along a little bit, though, the next one absolutely to highlight on this list I'm going down more and more. I'm really not going to waste your time with some of them because although all of them are good, I don't think everyone needs to be highlighted. Arizona State, Texas A&M. I mean, if you're looking for upsets in the first week, I don't know if there's a ton of them out there. But if you are going to look for one, I think Texas A&M over Arizona State is a possibility. I really like Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen's going to be the starter for Texas A&M. Kevin Sumlin, we know how good of a football coach he is, but Kyle Allen is one of those guys where you watch and you watch, and you kind of first got a glimpse of him a little bit early last year, and then later you got to see him progress a little bit. Now he's had the whole offseason to get better. I really think Kyle Allen's got a chance to be a good football player, and we know Texas A&M it does a good job with recruiting offensive linemen. We know that they can bring in big targets for a guy like Kyle Allen, so I think he will be well protected. He will have offensive playmakers. And Arizona State again is a very good football team. The last couple of years, what they've done, they could hang around with anybody. But if you are going to pick somebody here and you need an upset, I really do think Texas A&M's got a great shot here. Now, Arizona State is ranked. They're the 15th ranked team in the nation. But I mean, man, this is a tough first game against an SEC physical SEC opponent with a good quarterback. If anybody right here, if I need upsets on the first week of games, this might be the first one on my list where I think Texas A&M has got a good shot to win this game. But I really am going to keep a close eye on that game because, again, really Kyle Allen is a guy I think we might be talking about a lot this year. Seeing how he plays against a very good Arizona State team is going to be really, really big for him. Texas Notre Dame is the other one. Now, Texas, obviously, we kind of know where this program has been. I don't think they've had that quarterback. Since Colt McCoy, they haven't had a quarterback there, and that's really, really tough that they haven't been able to find that identity because when you watch them, obviously, Charlie Strong, I really love the message that he brings. I mean, it's his way or it's the highway. Very, very disciplinarian. His defenses are always good, but just you don't have that faith on the offensive side of the ball. Notre Dame is the 11th ranked team in the nation. A lot of people really like them this year. I'm kind of on the fence with them at the moment. I really we just haven't seen a big enough sample size of Malik Zaire yet. And obviously, I think you can really feel confident and sink your teeth in about Notre Dame. You've really got to get a good look at Malik Zaire. Now, obviously, we got to see him a little bit last year in the bowl games against LSU, and it was quite an impressive performance. I thought split by Golson and him, but it's going to be interesting to see how Malik Zaire reacts. This is a big game against a traditional power. Notre Dame, over the recent memory, has done much better in this rivalry, and I would think that I do have Notre Dame winning this game, obviously, but Malik Zaire, really want to watch how he does because from what we saw in the bowl game, I just don't know how much of a progression in the passing game he has at this point. Obviously, he's very athletic and can make plays with his feet, but how consistently can he get the ball down the field? That is the thing in college football. I mean, you can get away with it in college football sometimes, not having a quarterback who can really be a consistent passer, but you've really got to commit your offense all to it. You've got to be very creative like Gus Malzahn was with Nick Marshall, kind of like how Georgia Tech does it with Justin Thomas. You've got to be very creative with it because you could have that taken away from you very quickly. The next one, which again, if I had to pick another potential upset, I think Wisconsin and Alabama is another one where you have a potential for an upset here. And I'm not a big fan of what Alabama has this year. I think more and more we're seeing that consistency at quarterback they just haven't had. I mean, after A.J. McCarron, I just don't think that there was that confidence. And Blake Sims obviously had his moments here and there, but for the most part, if you take Amari Cooper away from that season of Alabama last year, they might lose two. I mean, that game against Arkansas, they might. That game against Tennessee, they might. Amari Cooper's not on that team. It's a totally different story. And this year, it's different again. Jay Coker was apparently lined up to win that job last year. Blake Sims took it away from him. This year, very similar situation. Jay Coker is lined up to take that starting role, but then Alec Morris has now the favorite to win that job. So right there, I mean, I just don't know if I have the faith. And it's especially at this point, too, is you don't have that big name offensive talented playmaker who's going to make this new quarterback's job a little bit easier. Obviously, we know Nick Saban is as good as it gets when it comes to recruiting. He's going to have a ton of good players. He's going to have a great defense. But this is an SEC where all the teams around them are getting better. Auburn is going to be dramatically better. I mean, I'm just keep on telling you how much better their offense is going to be now that they have an effective quarterback who can get the ball down the field in a hurry, who can string together multiple consecutive passes. Will Muschamp is the defensive coordinator for Auburn now. They're going to be 100 times better on the defensive side. The entire SEC, Arkansas, Kentucky, all of it is getting better at this point. And I think right now, Alabama, there's a lot more questions. I was not comfortable with putting them ranked as the number 3 team in the nation. And Wisconsin, look, we saw what they did in their bowl game last year, beating Auburn. They're not fazed by playing these SEC teams. I would not be fazed by facing either quarterback. I mean, at this point, I would say it's probably going to be Morris. I checked the news again this morning, and you still really can't get a surefire answer of who it's going to be, Morris or Coker, but I would put my money on Morris if I had to. And if I'm Wisconsin, that does not faze me. It really does not. I can go toe-to-toe with them if they're starting a guy like Morris who really is very inexperienced. I think they got a shot here. Obviously, if I was a betting man, I'd still bet Alabama, but you know what? If I had to call an upset, I think this is one where there's definitely a potential for it. Then you move along on the line a little bit, and really the top game, I think, is that Monday, and it's Ohio State, Virginia Tech. Obviously, Virginia Tech kind of giving Ohio State that loss early last year. It was kind of a mess for Ohio State at the beginning. Braxton Miller goes down. You have this young guy, J.T. Barrett. What's he going to do? They struggle in their first game against Navy, but they get the win. Then they lose to Virginia Tech. Then J.T. Barrett becomes one of the top quarterbacks in the country. 5 games in a row where he's accredited for over 500 yards of total offense, and everything just clicked. And I think this year, this is kind of interesting. Now, you have a couple players suspended for this game, but again, I don't think that that's going to come into big play here. Ohio State is double-digit favorites in every single game that they play this year, and for the most part, I think they will win every game. I have them winning it all again this year. I just think that they have too much talent. When you have 2 quarterbacks, obviously, usually the rule in college football is if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. It's a little bit of a different situation with Ohio State. They legitimately do have 2 quarterbacks. How are they going to use them, though? Braxton Miller, we know, is out of the picture. He's moving on to wide receiver. J.T. Barrett or Cardale Jones, we kind of get the inkling that they're going to both share time in this game. But Cardale Jones actually was in the hospital the other day with a migraine headache. So I don't know if that's going to change his availability for this game at all. But I think the original plan was for Barrett and Cardale Jones to both see action in this one. And that's the big story right now, is who is going to get that starting job. What are you going to do? Because both of these guys are outstanding football players. I still contend that J.T. Barrett is the better of the two. I just think he is the complete package. He is a great passer. He can make plays with his feet. He's smart with the football. He runs the offense very well. Not to say, but in the sample size is a little bit smaller with Cardale Jones, although he has a million things to like about him as well. But I think, obviously, Ohio State, they win this game. How's Ezekiel Elliott going to look out of the gate, and what's this quarterback battle going to look like? Who's going to outshine the other one? Who starts? Who gets the first nod? Is it going to be J.T. Barrett? I would think it is. Or is it going to be Cardale? I mean, it's very interesting. Ohio State has different problems a lot of people wish that they had, but they are not, and they are Ohio State. Urban Meyer is as good as it gets, and that is really it. I mean, there's some other ones in there. I'll go up and look at the schedule, but those are the ones I've really got my teeth synced into. It's going to be an incredible weekend. I'll be sitting on the couch and really am not going to do much moving at all. It's just I cannot express how excited I am for the start of the season. I hope you are too, though. Everybody enjoy the games. We will be back in the studio for the TV, doing it on the TV, doing the preview on radio for College Football Corner next week, breaking down everything that happened. So we will see you there, and everybody enjoy the slate of games that we have.